So I'm creating this video to talk about a third eye experience, third eye vision I had a long time ago, probably around like I want to say maybe 10 to 11 years ago, somewhere around there, and I talked about this experience on one of my older videos that's still uploaded on on this channel, but I feel like the way I talk in that video and the way I get across the story, it's pretty bad. So I feel like retelling the story, and hopefully I can get it across better this time. But anyways, though, around 10 to 11 years ago, I was at my house, and it was pretty late at night, probably around like 10 o'clock, maybe 8 to 10, p.m. And I was watching one of my favorite TV shows, and that I don't really watch TV anymore. I usually just stick with social media, YouTube, and I'm not one for TV shows anymore. But one of my favorite shows though was a show called Farscape, and it was about aliens, and I remember I was watching through some of the episodes, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, I just wish that I could somehow get off this planet, and see the stars, and see the universe, and I just had this strong desire, this urge to see life beyond the box, life beyond this matrix, and so one of the spirits that used to watch me, I think it could have been a Nordic female, one of these Nordic hybrid females or something, man, on the astral, and they must have read my thoughts, and they must have I'm sure when I was having these urges, they were watching me, and they picked up on it. And so later that night, when I went to bed, when I went to lay down in my room, I can't remember if I was going to bed or not, but as I laid down, I had the lights on in my room, and I remember these I closed my eyes, and suddenly these visions started going into my third eye. And when you have third eye visions, they're very vibrant, very what's the word? Surreal. I mean, it's better, when you see things through your third eye, it looks, the vision, it's more quality than what you see with your actual eyes. But I remember these visions started pouring into my third eye, and I remember I started seeing first I started seeing it was like it was like this Nordic spirit, or it could have been again, I'm not sure if this was even a Nordic or not, or if it wasn't one of these gray aliens or something, pretending to be a Nordic. But she started throwing these visions into my third eye, and it's like I started remote viewing these places around the universe, and I remember I started seeing I started looking into this one starship, and inside the starship, I was seeing all the controls, all the buttons, and they were they were flashing up like lights, and the metal that that the interior of this starship was made out of almost looked like a rusty brown in color. And I started seeing some of these aliens operating the controls, and they all kind of looked like slugs, like actual, like they were there's this one race off of Star Wars that they really reminded me of. I can't remember what they were called, but it's the name of them. It's right in the back of my head. But there's this race of humanoid in Star Wars, and some of them are Jedi too, and they look like slugs, So but I was seeing these creatures, man, operating at these controls, messing around with them, and then and that vision lasted probably about like 3 to 5 seconds before she moved it to another vision, and I started looking into this another starship, and I think if I can remember right, it was one with gray aliens, like little people walking around, with big Bobby's heads operating on controls and all that. And then inside of this, and the interior, the inside of this ship, everything was all white, and polished. Looked really, really nice, something you may, almost. Yes, it almost kind of looked like something a human being would invent. But I mean, like I'm talking about humanity. If we were to someday create our own starships, this one sort of is something that would resemble something like what we would build. And then that vision lasted for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then she moved it on to another one, and this one, if I can remember right, was like some dog-like aliens or something that some dog-like humanoids messing around in a ship, but I don't remember the surroundings, what the ship itself looked like. I was so focused on seeing something so weird in front of me. When you do, you just focus on that, and you really don't pay attention to anything, beyond that. The surroundings, the environment. You're just thinking to yourself the whole time, like, what the hell am I looking at? You don't really have time to process anything, as far as like environment goes, and like but that was anyways. So. That vision lasted for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then pretty soon I was switched on to another vision, and this one lasted, I want to say, probably about 30-50 seconds. But I saw this chamber. It almost kind of looked like some sort of dungeon, or maybe a cellar of some sort. The location felt like it was somewhere deep underground, and I remember there was like chains hanging off on the top of the wall, and I'm not sure what those chains were used for exactly, but I almost felt like the room itself could have been like a storage room, maybe too, because I kind of felt like there's boxes, like old crates and stuff, inside this room. But inside this room though, there was also some human-looking being, and if I can remember right, I don't know if he was like wearing some sort of kind of like a robe that kind of resembled. It was just something that you would wear around your house or something like that, but it felt more out of this world, the way it looked, and the way and then I saw this this being that was wearing that. He had long hair, that went down towards his shoulders, and the hair kind of looked wet, like, I don't know, a little wavy too, and it was kind of unkept, and I remember I was looking at the back of this being, his backside, and when I was seeing, when I was given these other visions right before this one, when I was looking at all these other aliens, like the slug ones, the grays, and this dog-like species, when I was looking at them, none of them looked back at me. None of them felt like they were, even aware I was looking at them, and I felt like I was looking at them through some form of remote viewing. But this one knew, and I remember I was staring at him, and he turned around, and he looked directly at me, and I remember he was wearing some sort of mask, looked like some sort of gas mask. I'm guessing the environment he was in was I'm guessing was harmful. The air in that place was harmful to breathe. So, but he looked directly at me, and his skin almost kind of looked it wasn't smooth skin. It was, I don't know if rough. He kind of looked old, like an old guy, but he wasn't old. He just, I don't know, man. looked like his skin almost had the texture of elephant skin, but it looked human, nonetheless. And I remember he was wearing this mask. It sort of resembled something you would see from Mortal Kombat, or maybe like the character. There's this one character in Mortal Kombat called Kabal, and he was like a burn victim, and he wore this sort of like, he was kind of like a cyborg, and he wore this mask over his face, that helped him breathe, and it looked a lot like that, and I remember his eyes were really chaotic looking too, and he looked at me, and he knew I was looking at him. Like, I get, he must have been psychic enough to pick up on someone else remote viewing him, because he looked directly at me, and it was like, like he had this look on his face, like, like it was like this sinister smile. I could see it through his eyes, even though I couldn't see him smiling because he was wearing the mask, but yeah, it looked like he was smiling in his eyes. And the thoughts I was picking up was like, like you're lucky you're not here right now, because I would do with you, I would harm you, and I remember when he was looking at me, he that vision, this Nordic spirit that was giving me these visions, she flashed, she threw another vision into my third eye, ended that one, but that one was the longest one. It felt like it lasted for about 50 seconds. Maybe it only lasted for around 10 seconds. But what I was seeing was pretty scary. So it lasted, so maybe it just felt like it lasted longer than what it actually did. But this Nordic spirit revealed herself in the last vision. So after I saw this alien guy in a cellar, this Nordic spirit, and I'm not sure again if she was actually a Nordic or not. Could have been a shapeshifter, because she looked unnatural. She had that kind of 3D generated skin texture, and her hologram looked off. So I think it could have been some alien, posing as a Nordic spirit. But she showed herself, and she showed herself in these it was daytime where she was at, and I saw these pyramids in the distance, but the whole environment looked like it was abandoned. It looked like I was looking at ancient ruins, ancient pyramids that were long abandoned thousands and thousands of years ago, because there was like grass and moss growing over them, cracks in the stones and shit like that. But she was standing there at this place, and she was looking at me, smiling, and then she blew me a kiss. And it wasn't like blowing me a kiss like like I'm interested in you type of kiss, but it was more like a fuck you type of kiss. And then pretty soon that third eye vision went away, and I got up from my bed, and all of that, I think, felt like it happened through, it was like, I don't know, like 3 to 5 minutes total, the whole experience. Maybe it was shorter than that, but yeah, I got up from my bed, and I was like, holy shit, what did I just see? And that was so amazing. I can't believe I don't know, it's still to this day, I mean, I've experienced many amazing things in my life, this experience here, definitely doesn't top the cake, but it's still a pretty cool experience, and one that's pretty easy to tell, to get across without people thinking I'm a full-blown nutcase. But yeah, I these amazing things, a lot of them been shown to me by the aliens that have that keep me imprisoned here on this planet, that keep me from accessing my third eye powers, and meditating and all that. They've always, they were the ones that showed me most of the amazing stuff, probably if not all of it, that I've seen in my life. And I can't figure out, why they do that. I don't know if it's somehow, I mean, if they're, giving me these experiences as a means for me to trust them, or if it's some sort of karma dodging, I don't know, but they do it, and it's been a long time since I had anything like that happen to me though. But